Hello, welcome everybody to What Would Cynthia Do? It was really right under the wire just now. We're trying to hook up all the different things on the internet so that everyone can get connected. Instagram folks, if you want the full What Would Cynthia Do experience, you can join via the second link in my bio. And everybody out there on the internet can join at whatwouldcynthiado.com. So thank you all for joining. Today we're talking about career change. One of those things that can strike fear into the heart of many, because it can be really hard as a person of color without all the connections and, especially if you're someone who's first gen and stuff, you don't necessarily have all the tools and the support to help you smoothly change from one career into another. And maybe you worked very hard to get into that first career. So there's a lot of stuff we got to go through, baggage, blocks, barriers with respect to even wanting to change. Hey, Viana, thank you for joining. Thanks. This is one of my few necklaces that's like a standby because, I'm a newbie in terms of learning how to dress myself appropriately. Let me just check here. Hi, everybody on the IG side. Hi, Carmela. Hey, Christina and Patricia, Career Glow Up. Everybody check out Career Glow Up. And Ariba Jahan, thanks for joining. If you all want the full experience, switch on over to whatwouldcynthiado.com, second link in my bio, and you'll be able to see the stuff I share on screen and stuff later. But yeah, you can still drop things in the chat. I will check back here periodically. Who else is here on the LinkedIn side? Tell me hi. And you all know we do name pronouns. What you do, one ask and one offer. And we will be getting into the 3 things you must do as a person of color to successfully change careers shortly. For now, my ask and my offer are the following. One is we're getting closer and closer to my crowdfunding campaign. I will be crowdfunding in May to create and launch a leadership accelerator for women of color, small cohorts of women of color. I'm really excited about it. I've been putting together kind of the program and the curriculum, and also just cobbling together this crowdfunding campaign, which I've never done before, but it's very exciting. I'm going to have a lot of cool rewards, super cool rewards, which I really want to show you, but I can't just yet. So if you want all the updates on that, drop your email at tinyurl.com, embrace change crowdfund, and you'll be the first to find out about all the different rewards that you can get, some of which there's only gonna be one or a few of, so you wanna be on this list so that you don't miss out. And IG folks, you can be on that list if you, hey Christina, hey Nikiba, you can find out if you sign up at the first link in my bio. That should take you to where you can drop your email for crowdfunding updates. And my offer is first time in about a year. Consults are open for long-term career coaching with me and my team. So if you're interested in a free consult, I know some of you have already signed up and I can't wait to talk to you. tinyurl.com, embrace change consults, or the link in my bio for Instagram. Hey Nikiba. And welcome, Good Hair Cards. Okay. Hey Charity, thank you for sharing your pronouns and your name. Let me know also if you have an ask or an offer. I like to make this space one where we can support each other to success. So as Viana knows, if you have an ask, you're looking for something, even if it's as simple as I need another TV show to stream or I need a cookie recipe. Feel free to ask because you won't receive unless you ask. You never know. You may be able to help other people too. So please do that. And yes, we have an ask over here. Viana has a new blog post about saying yes. Oh my God, I can't wait to read that. The URL for that is in the chat. So click that. I wish I could, say the whole thing out loud, but it's a bit long, so I won't. But everybody joining in the chat on the LinkedIn side can get that. And IG folks, if you want to see it, just go to my second link in bio. Hey, Socially Savvy. So great to see you. I hope everything's going well in Toronto, if I remember correctly. All right, so we're at our first segment of the day. How are we doing? Drop 2 words in the chat to let me know how you're feeling today. And I'll tell you a little bit about my week before we get into the topic. Oh my gosh. So one thing is that my new thing for the mornings, because I posted on Instagram earlier this morning how I'm like really not a morning person, and I am trying to get better at that, because sometimes I can legit just like snooze a whole bunch of times, procrastinate a lot, not do what I'm supposed to do, which is like my meditation, my like morning practices and rituals, and I just like fucking don't do them, and there's no excuse. But one thing I have been doing kind of instead that I've been really enjoying, so I'm sharing this for anyone else that it might help, is like I recently got into Nicole Byer's podcast, Why Won't You Date Me? Does anyone listen to that already, by the way, or any Nicole Byer fans out there? Let me know over here as well. It's such a good podcast. I really loved the episode with Nicole, and Aparna Nancherla was the guest. I mean, I'm a fan of Aparna anyways from her other work, but having the two of them together was hilarious. And I was cracking up. The funniest part I thought was like an hour in, they were like reading bad online dating profiles or interactions that they've received. It was just so funny. And I mean, anyone who knows me knows that I'm really shit at relationship advice, and relationships is like not my wheelhouse, but I found it very entertaining, and it's like now how I start my mornings. So that's how my week has been going. Let me see what's happening in the chat here. Oh, thanks, Viana, for offering to be an accountability partner. Excellent. Need to get in touch with Charity, who is here. Welcome back, to work on goals. I love that, because partnering up really is the way to go. Sometimes you just need somebody else to be like, let's block this time, whatever I'm procrastinating on, let's just work on it together, or something like that. I strongly believe in that. And, a lot of our work is about just keeping ourselves accountable, keeping each other accountable. Thank you for the happy Wednesday in the chat, Charity. And Viana's feeling pulled in a million different directions. That's okay. That's more than 2 words. The podcast is called Why Won't You Date Me? And it's so good. I really recommend it. How are we doing over here? Has anyone checked in? Oh, hey, Rhonda. Can't wait for our podcast to drop. Toronto is on 1 right now, but we're keeping it together. Not sure I understand what that means. Is that like new slang or something? I'm really I had a real grandma moment recently with my gosh, maybe that's an ageist thing to say. Anyway, I had a moment with my social media manager earlier today, because I'm doing a lot more reels on Instagram. Look out for those. And she like realized that I didn't know some very basic things about how to do them. So you all will see on IG that the first couple might be a little shaky in terms of the quality. So thanks for understanding. Hey, Melissa, thanks for joining. Okay, so keep letting me know how you all are doing in the chat on either side, and I'll check back in with you. Where the hell are my notes? Okay, a lot going on today. Drop my pen. Where are we? Yes, great. One more thing before we get into the topic of the day is that if you all didn't catch last week's live, where I was on Lisa Orbe Austin's live with Ashley Watkins, the 3 of us do a monthly show, monthly-ish, called The Conversation. We talked about job search, especially executive job search. So like setting yourself up for success, looking for these top leadership roles, or getting tips if you're already kind of at that stage. Definitely check out the replay. You can find it at whatwouldscynthiado.com in like, I don't know, maybe 2 days or so. I'll toggle it back to the archive, and you can check that out. You can also find it on Lisa's LinkedIn on her posts, like her feed. So if you caught that, also let me know. I would love to know what you thought of last week's episode. And yeah, anyone over here as well. So, oh, Lanice, hi. It's so great to see you. I'm so sorry you feel drained. I super relate to that. I feel like every week I'm like, am I burned out? I feel okay, but I feel like I'm also burned out. And yeah, so very relatable. And I know we've got some supportive words from Viana for Lanice too. But thank you for coming. Okay, so yeah, definitely vacation needed. Also, if you want to share any updates on like how I know you're really good about doing weekly, I think they're date nights, right, with your spouse. So let us know how those are going if you want. Okay, so we're going to get into the topic of the day, which is, as you know, 3 things you must do as a person of color to set yourself up for a successful career change, because we're going to do it. All right. We know it's not the same for us, right? We don't get all these opportunities necessarily handed to us on a silver platter. I was just talking to a new potential client or a new client about how just like, our parents are not telling us like the ways to navigate like workplace politics, how to like put yourself up for opportunities, how to talk about the work that you do. We're not like necessarily given all these things. So it can be really hard to figure out how to navigate from one career to another. And it's also why like I wrote my book, Don't Stay in Your Lane, the Career Change Guide for Women of Color. So if you want a deeper dive on any of these things, that's what I would recommend checking out. The book literally walks you through from that moment you have the light bulb moment of like, something isn't right here, all the way through to the end, where you are landing that new job in that new field, or starting your own business, whatever it may be. So, thanks, Fiona, for saying last week's conversation, episode of the conversation was good. Thank you. So happy to hear that. And glad that Lanice is still keeping up the date night and went on a double date. That's really awesome. I'm going to give you an air horn for that. Okay. So, the 3 things, the first one is never forget, people hire people. All right. A lot of us, especially women of color, people of color, we don't like to ask for help. And it's a real issue. It's a real challenge. It can definitely block you if you're not willing to ask for help. And I see this in myself too. I'm like totally guilty as charged with this. I hate asking for help. I want to just do it all myself. At the same time, when you're changing careers, you cannot do it alone. I do not recommend you do it alone. You're not going to be successful if you try to just do it alone. And just like a lot of people do this, they'll like just privately search for job postings, look for stuff online, maybe be on a Slack or 2, find job postings and just apply, like fix up their resume, fix up their online presence, and then apply and try to just do it by like brute force. I don't recommend this. I really don't. It's not efficient. You'll probably burn yourself out. You'll probably make yourself frustrated because you're not going to see results. Because as we talked about last week on the conversation, like 80% of jobs don't even reach like the job posting point. And if they do, a lot of times, has anyone ever encountered this? Let me know. Where you apply for a job because you found it through a cold posting, and then you find out later they just had an internal candidate that they were going to hire anyways. Right? Like that shit happens, right? So we got to figure out a way for you to be that internal candidate that they have in mind before they're posting a thing. And how do you do that? Talking to people, building relationships with people strategically. So yes, I'm talking about networking, and you can call it whatever you want. You can think of it as building relationships. You can think of it as finding new work friends. I think of it that way. And yeah, Lanice, you're 100% right. It is hard to be vulnerable. It is hard because we were socialized this way. It's not our fault. As I always like to say, this shit isn't our fault. It's how we were taught. And so now, once we realize that maybe these things don't help us, we can make a decision. Like, how can we shed this old belief that we don't need anymore? That it's, not necessarily hard to be vulnerable, that it can be powerful to be vulnerable, that it can help others, can help ourselves. And that in and of itself should be enough, So, wow, this is a long lead up to my tip number 1, which is build your professional network in the new career that you want to change into, right? So one bite-sized way you can do this is set a goal for every week. And I'm going to say a number, but you can adjust it to whatever you want, right? Whatever is doable for you with everything going on in your life right now. So you can make it higher, you can make it lower. I just want you to make it like a realistic number for yourself, but it is this. Reach out to 5 new professional contacts in the new area that you want to switch into each week. That means going through friends, sending an email, texting a friend to be like, hey, do you know anybody that I can reach out to? Going through LinkedIn, of course, good old Google. Use these different ways and set a weekly goal to be like, I'm going to reach out to 5 people per week in the new career that I want to change into. And notice that I didn't say have 5 conversations with people, like set up 5 interviews. Sorry. have 5 informational interviews with people, right? Because that's not entirely within your control. You could have a week where it's like you sent out 50 requests and just nobody got back to you, right? And that's not your fault. And that's why I never tell clients to set those type of goals. Like that can sort of be your nebulous goal, but the real action-oriented performance goal, which we've had one of these What Would Cynthia Do episodes on performance goals too. So check the archive if you want to see those, whatwouldcynthiado.com, or on my website, embracechange.nyc, under the resources tab, under What Would Cynthia Do? So, which is also where you can find last week's The Conversation. I totally forgot to say that. Oh, actually, no, I don't have it yet. It's only on Lisa's. Okay, never mind. Back to what I was saying. Set the goal that you can achieve that's entirely within your control to achieve, right? It's entirely within your control to send out 5 of these like messages to people in the new area, or 2 if that's your goal, right? But you cannot guarantee that 2 or 5 will come back to you and set up a call. So that's why I'm not making that the goal. Let me know any questions, because I know it's super convoluted. I'm also going to share screen and give you like a script to ask for one of these informational conversations, because I know that can be a real sticking point for a lot of people. You okay over here? Hi, love Karen. Great to see you. Hey, Siani. Hey, Gal. Or D rather, sorry, Bonnie. Great to see you. Let me know any questions, and I'm going to give you this script so you can more easily ask people for that, you know, intro call when you're doing this networking. All right, let me share screen. Is this working? Yeah, okay, so it's a bit cluttered because I have, all right, let me full screen here. All right, hopefully you can see this. Tell me in the chat if you can't. I'm gonna give you this networking script, which I can make it look even nice. There we go. Okay, full screen. You get the full experience. There's only one slide really, but I figured this would be helpful for like visual learners and stuff like that. This is for an email, a private message, a direct message, whatever. Text also could, well, I don't think you would be texting somebody in this context. So it's really for email, PM, or DM. So you can say this: hi, so-and-so, like let's pick somebody's name. Hi, Karen, I saw that you work in X field, which I'm currently transitioning into, period. I'd love to hear more about your career path and your work. Would you have time for a 15-minute phone call in the next few weeks? Thank you. Or you could say, thank you for considering, whatever. Also, riff off of this, put it in your own words, but this is the skeleton of what you need to say. If you can say it even shorter, great. I'm not the pithiest person, as you all well know. I left a little note at the bottom here. It's optional. Sometimes it is helpful for people, and I say this from my own perspective. Like if somebody's asking me for such a thing, you know, at this point I would send like my scheduling link. But before I had all that set up, I would have found it helpful if somebody suggested 2 days or times that worked, because it's like too much of a mental load from my point of view. Like you're coming to me asking something, right? So like I appreciate it when people make it super easy for me. And so if they're like, what about next Wednesday in the afternoon? Or like, how is next Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern? You know, like then I can more easily, it's like a hook. Like I can just say yes or no. I can propose an alternate time. It just makes it more concrete rather than like I get scheduling overwhelm. Like next few weeks, I don't even know what's happening this afternoon, you know? So you want, if you sense that this is a person where that would be helpful, throw in those 2 dates and times. All right, so I'm gonna take the slide down and go back to you all to see what questions we have. Let me know if that was unclear or what script you might use to meet people. I'll also say, oh, damn it, there was one more thing I wanted to share. Okay. Can I do this? Yes. There's a recent article I was featured in Bumble. It's called How to Network During the Pandemic According to Experts by my colleague, Jessica Militaire. So check that out. There's a whole bunch of tips in there, not only from me, but also 2 other experts. So you can read that and have more tools in your toolbox. All right, back to you all. And yeah, Vianney says, I get scheduling overwhelm also. It's so real. We're spending all our lives online. It's really easy to get overwhelmed by a lot of stuff. So listen, that's tip number 1. People hire people. You need to develop the relationships with people in order to successfully switch from from career A into career B. So don't be afraid to go out of your internally faced work and bubble to actually go out and talk to people. Let me know if you have any questions over here on the IG side. Happy to answer them. And we've spent the bulk of the time on tip number 1, but honestly, that is the most important and biggest game-changing one. So tip number 2 is making sure that if career A is not really related to career B at all, it's like sometimes you might have a hard time demonstrating to people that you can really do the other thing, right? So you might actually have to do some work to build the proof that you can do whatever it is in career B. So that might mean creating your own portfolio of work. It might mean getting on a different team, getting some different opportunities, paid or not, in your current job, or like in your community work and your volunteer work, to show, hey, I can actually do this. Here's the proof. You know, I know you might be skeptical because I'm coming over here from, I'll just use my example. Like, I'm coming over here from being a lawyer and a public defender. Like, why would you think that I know anything about career and professional development, right? But like, here's this work that I've done to help other people excel in their careers, and specifically women of color. So like, this is my proof, right? So your version of that. And I have more ideas on that in a free resource that I have called, it's my COVID-19 career change guide for women of color, career changers, so many words. If you want that resource, technically having an issue on my back end with my signups. So just DM me or PM me if you want that resource. I'm going to send you that for free. So let me know, DM me over here if you want to. Hey, Danny. So that's the second tip, is like, build the proof that you can do the new work. The third one is be able to properly present yourself and talk about you being a good candidate in the new career with confidence. I know this is so much easier said than done, because we are our own harshest critic. Posted on IG not long ago about how we need to fire our inner critic and hire our inner coach. So be sure you can literally like talk the talk. Be able to tell people what your skill sets are, why you would be good at this new line of work, why you're interested in it, you know, in addition to asking a lot of questions. Because people, if you don't sound like clear or confident, people, one, they're like, I don't know how to be clear back. And two, like, the confused mind says no. So if they're like, oh, you know, I really like Lanice, and I hear the words that Lanice is saying about wanting to do this new kind of work, but like, I sense some kind of tentative, unsure energy there. Like, people don't bother to understand like why you might be sounding this way, but they will draw like bad conclusions from it. Like, they'll just be like, oh, you know, Lanice must not be sure that like she really wants to do this, so I'm not gonna connect her to so-and-so, or I'm not gonna tell her about this job opportunity. So that's what you don't want to happen, right? That's a very like not good outcome. So practice with your friends, like how you're talking about presenting yourself in this new place, so you can do so confidently in a way that inspires other people's confidence, right? So let me know what questions and thoughts you have in the chat. We're nearing time, but I have time for a couple of questions. And yeah, just to back up again, like, extra resources for people who want to do, oh yeah, thanks, Lanice. The confused mind says no. I think about that all the time, because also, one that goes in tandem with that is like my former therapist would say to me, Cynthia, if you're not clear, other people won't be clear back. And I think about that all the time, because I always know that I could be clearer. And, you know, it's just clear communication is like a really nice thing to give other people. And hopefully then you'll receive it back too. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and comments. Let me play you a little thinking music here, if I can. Oh yeah, there it is. There's my thinking music. Hey Hawa, it's so great to see you. Thanks Nikifa for for the positive feedback on the sound effects. I'm a little off today because I forgot even what was on my soundboard over here, and so I forgot like what options I have. But I think I've remembered most of them now, and actually you've heard the majority of them. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions or anything, Nikki for Hawa or anyone else who's on the IG side, as well as let me check on the LinkedIn side. You all feel good? Okay, so don't forget, these are the 3 things that I feel like are must-dos for, does anyone say that? I don't know. Are must-do for people of color, especially if you're trying to change careers. 1, make the connections with people. Network strategically with the people in the career you want to move into. 2, is be able to show the proof that you will be good at the work in the second career. Also, that could simply be like learning how to talk about your experience in a way that's like analogized for whatever you'll be doing in the new career. So you may not have to do extra new work for that. And then 3 is be able to speak about yourself and your skills and all your talents, everything you bring to the table confidently. This is awesome. So we got a question from Lenise. How many times do you suggest to follow up if it's someone you really want to connect with? Okay, so if it is someone you really want to connect with, one thing to consider first, do you know anyone who knows them? LinkedIn is great for that, right? Like you can see how many connections you have in common. I would suggest asking some of your connections in between for that warm intro. That's going to guarantee you, like, I think a connection more or less. I'd say it's like 90% plus chances you would actually get connected to them. If it's a cold person that you don't, not a cold person, but like a cold contact, you don't have any people in common, I would probably follow up with them like twice and then sort of let it go. That's like a rule of thumb, but obviously you can deviate from that. I would also say if it is somebody on LinkedIn, or Twitter or Instagram, like you can warm them up, right? Like if you follow them, you like their posts, you comment on their posts, you share their posts, you know, you can start to do a strategy where you like warm up that person to the point where you are like, hey, you know, I really enjoy everything you've been doing. Like, I would love to talk to you sometime because your work in X is like exactly what I want to do too. Like, would you be open to a 15-minute call? You know, then you can ease right into that ask and chances are you will really connect with them. But then, yeah, I would say, you know, if you've done all the things you can do and you're really striking out, then probably not more than 2 times. And then you can wait a bit and then like see if there's another way you can connect with them in a way that's like maybe offering them value. Like, hey, I came across this podcast. I thought it'd be really helpful for you. Or, you know, I came across this award. This is one of my favorites, Lenise. I came across this award and I nominated you for it. You know, like this is like the championing and sponsorship we can do for each other that then also will make someone really like grateful to you and want to connect with you. So that's one of my super secret tips. Bianca says, I've found that people are usually happy to have informational conversations. Totally co-sign on that, especially if there's a connection you can make to the person. Yes. This is a huge sales tip, by the way. Viana's dropping some serious sales knowledge on us all, especially if you went to the same school or in the same sorority, etc. I can't tell you how many times that's come true for me, that if I send a cold email and I like actually was like, oh, I'm a big fan of, you know, your work, or like I'm a longtime customer of your company, like user of this software, whatever, like some kind of connection, also used to be a lawyer, you know, those type of things really make people want to engage with you more. So 100% on that one. Oh, that's so quiet. Sorry, that's better. Better air horn for Viana for that like huge tip. And also thank you, air horn for, oh, wrong. There we go. That one's for you, Lenise, for asking an excellent question. Oh, thanks so much, Bonnie, for saying it's good advice. Hey, Rhonda. Oh my gosh. Hi, you said so. Yes, it's good to see you. Nikita asked for tips on pitching what you want to do without knowing whether the person has a need for your skill set. Oh, so yeah, this I would do what I call a sneaky pitch, which is, so to like restate the question one more time, just for clarity, because I just talked about how it's good to be clear. Like Nikita over on IG is asking, what are tips to do to pitch yourself if you're not sure if the person you're pitching really needs the services or the skills or the, you know, the work that you are offering. So my sneaky pitch advice is to say to the person like, oh, you know, I'm like, whatever, like been following you for a while, like big fan of your work. Hey, Manelli. Actually, Manelli and Bonnie, I think you both would have a lot in common too, if I do say so myself. So check out each other's work. I think you're both really like about the same type of values and mission. So Nikifa's question, a sneaky pitch is where you kind of say to the person like, hey, Nikifa, like I'm looking for new clients for this type of work that I'm doing. And, you know, this is the concrete thing that I'm offering. I don't know if this is something that you necessarily be interested in, but I thought maybe you would know others, even if you weren't interested in this. So, you know, would love to hear like what your thoughts and questions are, and or anybody you know that you think I should target who would benefit from what I'm offering or who would want to take advantage of this special offer. Like I'm giving you different twists of ways to say this. But that's what I call my sneaky pitch, because you are targeting them because you know they might be a client or a customer, or they might be an employer, might hire you. But you're also making it really low pressure because you're not putting them on the spot to really hire you. You're kind of doing this like side ask. And Manelli, if that sounds familiar, it's because it's from Jumpstart Your Online Business. At the end of the ebook course is where I talk about how to do that. So let me know if that wasn't clear, Nikifa, and I can clarify more. Okay, back to the LinkedIn folks. Let's see. Yeah, Viana is really good at connecting and circling back. And that, honestly, that skill of like being organized to circle back and not forget about things, not let things fall through the cracks, not let people sort of fall through, is a huge skill. That sets you apart from a lot of people, and it's very undervalued, in my opinion. So yay for that. Okay, so I'm gonna start playing us out, but I'm gonna check if there's any last final questions. Is this gonna work? Yes, okay, there we go. Oh, good, I'm glad, Nikki, that helped. And yay to everyone who joined from the IG side. I know it's a little bit weird, but we'll be back next week, 2 p.m. Eastern on May 5th. Wow, can't believe it's the end of April already. But thank you so much for coming. Put it in your calendar if you want to join next time. What would Cynthia do? 2 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what the topic is next time, so also tell me your requests. I take requests, people, so if you want me to do a topic next time, tell me. Thanks for coming. Keep connecting with each other. And yeah, like, thanks again for showing up and sharing time. I know you could be any number of places, so it's always great to have you here with me. And thank you all, IG folks. Yeah, see you next time. Tell your friends. Would love to grow this thing, help more people of color. If you want to see the archive again, best way to do that is through my website, embracechange.nyc, resources tab, and then there's a What Would Cynthia Do archive. Yeah. All right. I'll see y'all later. Bye. Have a great day. See you later. Thanks, Fiona. You're the best. Thank you for coming.